For problem number 4, I urge you to pause the video now and see if you can figure out how to simplify that expression. Remember, from the last video, cancel factors, not terms. So we are going to factor this polynomial in the denominator. The numerator cannot be factored anymore. So it becomes, if we want to think about it as in parentheses, that might help us remember that that is a factor. X minus 2 is a factor. You cannot cancel just the x, and you cannot cancel just the 2. So in the denominator, we see we have a polynomial, and we should notice that we can factor out a greatest common factor of a 3x. So when we factor out the 3x from the first term, we're left with just an x. When we factor out a 3x from the second term, we're left with a 2. And just to remember why that's true, here's just to remember why it's true. We take the factors. Anytime we want to know, did we factor correctly, we take the factors and then we multiply the factors together to see if we get what we started with. So 3x times x, that's 3x squared. 3x times negative 2, that's negative 6x. And we check, yes, that checks out. So we look way up there at the, we look right there and to see, did we get what we, yes, so that's a good thing. Okay, now, remember, cancel factors, not terms. So hopefully, clearly you can see that x minus 2 being a factor in the numerator can cancel with the x minus 2 being a factor in the denominator. And remember, really what you're doing is you're dividing each of these by x minus 2, and x minus 2 divides evenly into each of these one time. So we have a 1 left over in the numerator. Don't replace that with a 0. Anytime we cancel, so x minus 2 over x minus 2 is 1. So it's like these two factors being replaced by a 1. And so when we take the numerator, what's left over in the numerator is just a 1. There's nothing else to cancel, and what's left over in the denominator is a 3 times x times 1, and that's just a 3x. So hopefully you were successful in being able to simplify that expression. Got a little more time here in this video, so let's go ahead and do numbers 5 and 6. Again, I think what you have here is you have enough information to be able to do the rest of these. So I urge you to pause the video and try the rest on your own. And I'm just going to keep going without as much explanation. So we have a polynomial up on top. We have a polynomial on the bottom. No GCF other than 1. So we see 3 terms up top. So we know we can factor that using the FOIL method. This factor is b plus 1, b plus 3, or b plus 3, b plus 1. So probably one of those factors is one of the factors down below. So we see b squared plus b minus 6. So we need factors of negative 6. That would be 3 and 2. Add up to 1, so plus 1b. So that would be a plus 3 and a minus 2. And so we can see clearly that b plus 3 being a factor in the numerator is, and the denominator, we get to cancel those. And so what we end up with is b plus 1 over b minus 2. You don't need parentheses around either of those factors anymore because they're not being multiplied by anything but 1. So there you go. So again, same kind of thing. And now I can move a little bit quicker because the explanation really has been done. For number 6, I would do it like this. I would write, okay, that's n minus 3 and n plus 2. Down here we have n minus 3 and n plus 1. So we get to cancel the n minus 3's, and we get n plus 2 over n plus 1. This is how quickly I would do the problems once I finally kind of have it figured out. And I'll work through the problems like that. Let's see if we can get through the other ones. The difference is squares, so that's b plus 2 times b minus 2. Down here we have b minus 2 times b minus 2. We get to cancel those b minus 2's, and we get b plus 2 over b minus 2. See, I'm getting a little bit more sloppy here. But nevertheless, that's the work you should show, and that's the answer you should have. They may get a little bit tougher. I'm going to go ahead and do the last 3 problems in another video so that I don't run over my 5 minutes.